Hello and welcome to this week's episode of For the Love of Chiropractic. I'm your host, Dr. Robert Freeman. To our long-term listeners, I want to say thank you and welcome back. If you're one of our newer listeners, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss a single episode. There's already well over 45 episodes in the library full of information to help you improve your practice to make it the best ever. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the 5 steps to the smooth running office. So let's get started. Welcome to another episode of For the Love of Chiropractic. I'm your host, Dr. Robert Freeman. I've been in practice for over 30 years, and I continue to work in a $1 million practice that I built, ran, and sold. I've taught, lectured, and coached our profession, and helped so many chiropractors build the practice and the life of their dreams. And now, I want to help you do the same. So here's today's show. So as I said in the introduction, on today's show, we're going to be talking about the 5 steps to smoothly run your fantastic office. And as we go through and talk about the 5 steps, we're going to do it as a countdown. So we're going to start with number 5 and work our way down to the number 1 most important aspect to the smoothly run office that you can have. So number 5 is to optimize your office hours. There are certain office hours that have been proven over the decades to be the best hours that work best for the office, for the patients. So I want to spend some time talking about those right now. The typical chiropractic practice sees people on a 3 times per week schedule. And what that means is you need to have at least 4 sets of morning office hours and 4 sets of afternoon office hours. Well, I don't understand. If you just said most people come in on a 3 times per week schedule, why do I need 4? Easy, because people need some flexibility. While coming in to get their chiropractic care is incredibly important, sometimes other things actually do come up, so they can't be there, and mornings are the only things that work for them for various reasons. So you have elderly patients who say, I don't drive in the afternoons or evenings because I can't see that well. Or you have people who can only come in the afternoons or evenings because they work in the mornings. Whatever it is, if they're on a 3 times week schedule, you need at least 4 sets of those office hours. And the days that have shown to be the best for those morning hours are Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturday. Those Saturday morning hours are incredibly important, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. And the specific morning hours to have on that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, if you're in the suburban or bedroom community setting, are 10 to 1, 10 a.m. to 1 in the afternoon. Reason being, some doctors say, I want to start really early in the morning and catch people on their way into work. Well, the challenge with that is it's very difficult to be sharp early in the morning and in the afternoon once you've been there for so many hours, especially into the evening. And there's going to be a lull, because if people have to be at work by 9 a.m. sharp, the people who are coming in before work, then there's that lull at 9 o'clock and then the rest of the morning. But anybody who could be there at 9, I want to start at 9 a.m. Anyone who could be there at 9 can just as well be there at 10 o'clock because they're not going into work. So that gives the office a later time to start, which is convenient for the staff and the patients. No one's driving in rush hour at that point because rush hour is done by the time you're starting your commute. So 10 to 1 makes perfect sense. Well, why 1 o'clock? Because most of the world takes lunch at noon. And you want to be available for patients to stop in on their lunch hour. So they can come in between 12 and 1, and then you and the staff can take lunch right after that. And typically your morning hours are going to be filled with seniors, stay-at-home moms, and people who are out of work for some other reason, whether it's an auto accident or a work comp injury, something of that nature. They can get in during those times early in the morning, and so they can get on with the rest of their day also. And what about the afternoons? We said 4 afternoon hours. And again, if you're in a suburban or bedroom community, I think those afternoon hours, that are time tested and proven, the best ones are from 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. So first off, it sounds like you're taking a 2-hour lunch break. But when you see your last patient at 1 o'clock, by the time they wander in, get adjusted, any other therapies, make their appointments, make their payments, it's closer to 1:30. And then when the staff meets together at 2:30 for the pre-shift huddle, so you can then be seeing the 3 o'clock people as they roll in at maybe in 2:45. What that means is the staff gets a full 1 hour for lunch, even though it looks like it's 2 hours. But let's go back to the 3 to 7 piece. 3 in the afternoon till 7 in the evening. So you're going to see the teachers when they finish working. You'll see what I call moms and dads on the move, picking up kids after school, bringing the kids in that need to be adjusted after school. You'll see the families on their way home from soccer practice or whatever the after school sports are. And then you start to see the people coming in after work. This is why you can't close at 5 o'clock unless you're in an urban setting, because cities typically empty out right at 5:30, maybe 6, depending on your specific city. And you know that because you live and work there. What time do the streets just get dark and empty in the business section of town where you are? That tells you your best closing times. But if you're in a bedroom community or suburban setting, you need to give people time to get back to the area after work without rushing like a maniac to get there. It's easy. It's relaxed. And because you didn't start till 10 in the morning, seeing your last patient at 7 is not a huge problem. I know there are some practices that say, well, I don't want to be there till 7, so I'll split the difference and I'll leave at 6:30. Well, 6:30 is okay, but the half hours don't play well on the subconscious mind. People like your hours to be specific and easy, 10 to 1, 3 to 7, as opposed to 10 to 1, 3 to 6:30. It just doesn't flow as well. It doesn't hold in their brain as well. That's not just my thinking. That's just what we see going on. But what 4 days should you have those afternoon hours? Obviously, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday work really well. Well, then you have Tuesday or Thursday. Well, yes, you do. I believe it's better for the patients to have that other choice to be the Tuesday. You want it earlier in the week. The reason being, if things get pushed to later in the week, sometimes they get pushed off, sloughed off, forgotten about, and doesn't need to happen, at least in their mind. So if someone suddenly can't come on the Monday, not a problem. We'll see you tomorrow instead. It also sets the tone for the week. This is important. We need to get these things done. Well, I want to do my afternoon hours on a Thursday and have my Tuesdays off. You can do that. But when you get to Thursdays, people are thinking towards the weekend, and it's more likely, statistically speaking, that you're going to lose more visits. I know practices that have gone to having a 4-day week where they do see patients Monday through Thursday, and statistically, there's a significant drop in the number of visits that they see. Again, this is a life choice, work versus life balance. Is that what you want, to have a 3-day weekend every week? That's up to you. I believe, preach, and teach doing what's best for the patients is what's best for the practice. And when you take care of your patients take care of you. So your life will work the way that it's supposed to. And as for those Saturday hours, the reason they're so important is Saturday's a makeup day, and it's chill and it's relax. And if you've been listening to the podcast for any length of time, you've heard me speak on previous episodes about Saturday office hours and how absolutely wonderful they can be. It's a couple hours in the morning for people to get in, get what they need, and get back on with their weekend. The optimum hours are typically 9 to 11, but I've also seen over the years that individual communities have some specificities, and those hours often need to be shifted a little bit earlier or a little bit later based on the community and the different things that people are involved in. Okay, so now moving on to number 4. The fourth most important thing for a smoothly running office is when stuff comes up. The poop hits the fan and it's got to be handled right now. So do that and take care of it. And then create a system and procedure to make sure that that fire never happens again. The best practices that I know have used this philosophy, and over a period of years, suddenly there's incredibly few fires, and the office runs with beautiful efficiency, so the patients get cared for, and everybody has a fantastic day almost every day. Once in a while, something comes up. It's either because a new fire has come up, or some system or procedure has broken down and hasn't been done the way that it was supposed to be done, which is why that fire ignited in the first place. And as we're talking about putting out fires and creating systems and procedures, that's the rough sand. That's the big fire that happens. The fine sand, the polish, is actually number 3 on our list. The number 3 secret to a smoothly running office is for you with your critical eye to identify every small irritant that happens in your office and clean that up and fix it also. And by the way, it's not just you as the doctor who gets to do this. It's the staff also. Anything that irritates and slows down and creates just a little burr, a little hiccup, just a little pebble in your shoe, slows the team down and makes things rough and not as smooth and beautiful and perfectly silky as they should be or could be or can be. And why wouldn't you want to work in the ultimately clean and perfect office that runs beautifully? So the way to accomplish this one is as you're going through your day, doing all the things that you do, when something comes up, it's not the way that it should be, make a quick note on a Post-it note, scrap of paper, stuff it in your pocket, put it on the side next to the computer, and then figure out the appropriate time to work through this. What's the solution? And how do we implement it? Perhaps it's at a staff meeting. If it's something minor, you can mention it at a pre-shift huddle the next day. But clean it up and move it forward, because just like putting out the big fires, when you take care of these little irritants, you've taken the pebble out of your shoe, and suddenly you can run farther, you can run faster, you can make a bigger difference, helping more people, having a bigger, better practice. So what are some of these common little pebbles that are in the shoe that you hear that you ignore? Maybe it's the way that the front desk CA greets people or dismisses people. Maybe it's the way the phone is answered. Or perhaps it's the floor CA, how they explain the procedure they need to do with the patient or why you're doing certain things in the office. Maybe it's the cleanliness of the office. When you get there in the morning, there's little scraps of paper from tearing the face paper from the day before, or there's dust down on the base of the table. Yeah, that needs to be dusted. That keeps forgetting to get done. Again, what are some of these little things that just eat away at you just a little bit and take away from the optimum experience in the practice? And now we're up to the number 2 most important thing for the smoothly running office. And that is to have a great team with clear leadership and clear roles for each of the team members. Does everybody know exactly what they need to be doing, why they need to be doing it, how they need to be doing it, and is everybody cross-trained so that when somebody needs to step off the floor, perhaps to use the bathroom, someone can step in, take the role, and keep going with it without missing a single beat. Because I want this great team to be able to handle anything that comes up with effortless ease, with a smile on their face, so anything a patient needs, we easily got taken care of. And that brings us to the number 1 most important thing for the smoothly running office. And when it comes to this one, I've got good news and bad news. And both of those things are the same thing. It's all up to you, because it is your office. The number 1 thing for the smoothly running office is for you to be the biggest, best version of you that you can possibly bring every single day. And the number 1 ingredient in you being the biggest, best version of you is that you must absolutely handle everything as soon as possible, ASAP. You need to stop procrastinating. You need to get it done now. In fact, I want you to become proud of how fast you can turn things around. And I don't mean doing them sloppily. I mean doing it efficiently, properly, with the expertise of a clinical doctor, the way you know you are, the way you know you want to be, should be, could be, and need to be. Not just for yourself, not just for your patients. I want you to get these things done as quickly as possible for the office manager so that she goes, "Wow, doc, I know when I give you something, man, you're going to get back to me ASAP." For the front desk person, because they're trying to do your work for you. They're trying to get your patients through the office in a helpful way. If they need something from you, see how fast you can get it back to them. For the floor CAs, "Hey doc, I don't know what happened here. This wire broke. This band looks like it needs to be replaced." Awesome. Let's take care of that ASAP. Let's look at it right now. "Gee, doc, there's some problem here. I'm not sure what to do about it. Let's take care of it right now." Or hold on to that if it's not an emergency. Let's you and I take a quick minute before we go to lunch and look at that. And of course, for the patients also. If the patients ask you for something specific, you want to turn that around as quickly as you can and not push them off. You may need to schedule to get it done later. "I hope you understand this is not an emergency. I'll have that done for you by Monday." "Okay, is that okay?" And they'll say, "Yes, of course, that's okay." It's been said before that procrastination is the killer of dreams and a cancer that creates a slow death. I want us to kill procrastination and turn things around as fast as possible. And when you do, when you stop procrastinating and you show up as the best version of you, you end up creating a great team around you that has great leadership, clearly understand goals and roles in the office. With you not procrastinating and this great team around you, all of a sudden the little irritants don't seem to be there anymore because we've taken care of them. And without the little irritants, any fires that come up, we put them out so those procedures are in place and taken care of. And by doing all of those things with optimum office hours, we have an amazingly smoothly running optimum office that you're proud of, your staff is proud to be part of, and the patients love to come to, brag about, and refer to. All right, and that's our show for today. If you have a question about today's show or your own practice, feel free to reach out at fortheloveofchiropractic.com. Before making changes to your practice, be sure to seek legal advice regarding those changes and regulations in your state. For the Love of Chiropractic is an RGF production, all rights reserved. And thanks for listening. Original music provided by Hunter Rich Music.